Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we're having a look at the McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom II. Here we close the cockpit and prepare to take off from this carrier. Well, the McDonnell Douglas F4 Phantom II. In my opinion, this is the aircraft of the Cold War era. It is by far the sexiest aircraft produced in the 60s, 70s and perhaps even the 80s. Look at those monstrous engines, which, I mean, wow. Nevertheless, let's talk a little bit about the F4, produced by McDonnell Douglas Aircraft Corporation. First flight, May 27th, 1958. Introduced to squadrons in 1960. Retired from US combat use in 1996. So that is impressive service record, to say the least. It was exported to no less than 11 countries, which testimonies to the greatness of this aircraft. Production ran between 1958 and 1981, giving the total numbers produced 5,195 aircraft. Now that is impressive. As you can tell, I really like this aircraft. Its first 18 months, that is 1.5 years of service, therefore racked up no less than 16 records, including fastest speed at high altitude and low altitude, highest service altitude, amongst a few. Those records stood for 15 years before the F-15 Eagle took it away. That is 15 years. It's impressive. What is the F4 Phantom that I'm singing the praise of? It is an American tandem, two-seat, twin-engine, all-weather, long-range, supersonic jet interceptor and fighter bomber. It was extensively used in the Vietnam War by both the Marine Corps, the Navy, and the US Air Force. It was the air-to-air fighter for the US Air Force and Marine and Navy. It was also one of the most important recon vehicles, aerial vehicles that is, in the war. One of the main things was its ability to carry lots and lots and lots of bombs, missiles, or other equipment. Fun fact, or fun sense, is that first versions of the F4 did not carry an internal gun. Something that, well, the thinking was that seeing as the F4 was one of the first aircraft able to perform BVR combat, beyond visual range, that is to lock up enemy fighters with its mighty radar and shoot Sparrows or Sidewinder heat-seeking missiles from far away. They didn't deem it necessary to have a gun, but in Vietnam the pilots of the F4 paid dearly when they faced the MiG pilots, not maybe MiG pilots in this type of MiG-15s, but in the MiG-17s, the MiG-19s and MiG-21s, and those aircraft surely did have guns, big guns. And in those close dogfights, the absence of the gun became apparent that this is not good. Although having fancy radar and heat-seeking missiles and so on is good, it wasn't so good that it didn't cost lives. And by the introduction of the F4E, there was an internal gun mounted, the M61 Vulcan gun. This version is the C version, and it has a gun mounted on the central line, which you could. It wasn't as good as the internal mounted one, but nevertheless it was a gun and it was an interim solution. Here we see those mighty afterburners in action. A bit more of the history. On December 30th, 1960, the VF-121 pacemakers at NAS Miramar became the first Phantom operators with its F4H. And that was truly a big step forward for them. Marine Corps received its first F4Bs in June of 1962 with the Black Knights of the VMFA 314th Marine Corps Air Station El Toro being the first ones to get it. Some general characteristics of this awesome aircraft. Crew of 2, it had a length of 63 feet or 19.2 meters, wingspan of 38.5 feet or 11.7 meters, height of 16.5 feet, that is 5 meters, empty weight 30,328 pounds or 13,757 kilos, a gross weight of 41,500 pounds or 18,824 kilos. Max takeoff weight 61,795 pounds or in kilos 28,030 kilos. Fuel capacity 1,994 US gallons internals or 3,335 US gallons in external tanks. Now, the engines. 2 times General Electric J79 GE17A with afterburners. These engines produced 52.96 kilonewtons of thrust without afterburner, or 11,905 pounds of thrust. With afterburner, they each produced 17,845 pounds of thrust, or 79,038 newtons, giving it a maximum speed of 2,370 kph, or 1,280 knots, or 1,470 miles per hour, at 40,000 feet, or 12,000 meters. In Mach numbers, that is Mach 2.23. A cruise speed of 510 knots, or 580 miles, or 940 kph. Had an impressive rate of climb of 41,300 feet per minute, or 210 meters per second. Has 9 hardpoints to mount different kind of weapons. To a total of 18,650 pounds, or 8,480 kilos, including general purpose bombs, cluster bombs, TV and laser guided bombs, rocket pods, air-to-air ground missiles, anti-ship missiles, gun pods, nuclear weapons, recon equipment, targeting electronics, countermeasures, and so on. It could carry, as in this case, 4 AIM-9 Sidewinders and 4 AIM-7 Sparrows. Also carry Mavericks, TV-guided, AGM-62 Walleyes, AGM-45 Shrikes, AGM-88 Harms for anti-shipping missions, AGM-78 Standard Arm, GBU-15s, that is cluster munition, Mark 82 dumb bombs, Mark 84, CBU-87, CBU-89s, and, as I said, nuclear weapons, including the B-28EX and the B-61, B-43, and the B-57. We talk a little bit about operators of the F-4. Australia, Egypt, Germany, Greece, Iran, yes, Iran, and that is before the revolution. So the Imperial Iranian Air Force, they received F-4Ds from 1968 to 1979, and also some F-4Es from 71 to 79. Israeli Air Force, Japanese Air Force, Air Force of Japan, South Korea, Spain, Turkey, United Kingdom, Royal Air Force and Royal Navy. The US, in its United States Air Force, United States Marine Corps, and the United States Navy. Turkey has 54 F4E Terminators, as they call them. At least in 2020 there were 54 in service. I'm not sure how many there are left. South Korean have at least 27 F4Es in service, although they are replacing them with F-35s. Peak Harbor, I believe, have 18 F4Es still in service. As a service record, the US Army Air Force summarized the Vietnam War action, and in total 107 destroyed MiGs. Of course, this came at a price, but after the introduction of a gun and the reinstatement of a little bit of different tactics, the kill ratio went back to, shall we say, like a little bit more acceptable numbers. For a while, the kill ratio was 40 enemy losses to 7 own, which wasn't good. But in the end, at the end of the war, during the Vietnam War, 761 F4s were lost, not all to air-to-air combat. That is including crashes and not least anti-aircraft and SAM kills. However, the kill ratio of the F4 started out about 3-1, but at the end of the war it was up to 7-1. So 7 enemy losses, 7 enemy kills to 1 lost. Difference was that the American had a very good search and rescue service and could often retrieve its pilots and radar operators, although some ended up in horrible prison conditions and unfortunately never made it back. That is it for this short video about the F4 Phantom, which, as I've said many times, is one of the coolest aircraft I know. Please comment if you like this kind of videos on what you want to see next on the channel. Subscribe, like, and hit that little bell so that you get notification every time we release a video, which is about once a week. Not all videos are in English, but we're working on subtitles for them. And if you like this sort of stuff, you can find somewhat of 100 clips on our page. These pictures and such are taken from the game War Thunder. We are not sponsored by War Thunder in any ways, but if you like to play aircraft, helicopters, tanks, APCs and such in arcade or semi simulator mode, War Thunder might be it for you. So go have a look. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll catch you later. And I wish you a good night, good day, good morning, whenever you watch this. Have a nice one, and I'll catch you later.